Hello everyone, this is Reading with Blade here, and I'm going to be reading a Transformers fanfiction. And it's a yaoi fanfiction for anyone who's interested. This one is called My Spark Forever Changing. It is written by me. I've been posting it on Quotive, Fannet, and sometimes Wattpad. But note that this is not under Mistress Nightmare, because I don't want people thinking that I stopped writing creepypasta fanfictions or doing other things. Like I said in the news before in this video, that Reading with Blade is for different fanfictions out there. People who have other fanfictions who want to be narrators to read, please comment or message me saying that you guys want your fanfictions to be read in this channel. I'll be happy to read it, but right now I'm going to be reading My Spark Forever Changing. Before we get started, please hit that like button, comment, subscribe to this channel if you guys want more fanfictions out there. What if Jack Darby had a twin brother and he was coming home after being sent away to a detention center for troubled teens at the age of 10 years old? It has been 6 years since Jack had last seen his brother Jeff, but he was on his way home to Jasper, Nevada. Jeff was in a horrible traffic accident in the bus that was taking him home. Was hit by a truck. And what will happen when Mac finds him barely alive, thinking that Jeff was Jack Darby. Mac takes Jeff to their base and making him into their newest test subject. What will happen to Jeff? I hope you guys will enjoy this story. I know I enjoyed writing it. Let's get started. Chapter 1. Outside the detention center stood a boy dressed in black leather jacket, black pants that were ripped in some places along with a chain hanging from the side, with black leather boots, and his hair was dark black, with the tips being dyed red, giving him a badass look. He was carrying a brown duffel bag over his shoulders as he walked away from the detention center, with a smirk on his face. But stopping and looking back at the detention center, that he had spent 6 years of his life in that place, after being sent away by his own mother, being forced to go and leave his home and his younger brother behind, only making this young man rebel, as he was given the nickname the Silent Killer. He was the leader of the biggest gang in the detention center, and with all of the inmates looking up to him for guidance and protection. This young man's name is Jeff Darby, the oldest twin brother of Jack Darby. Jeff was a troubled young man, breaking and entering, blowing things up, getting into fights. No one knew the reason why Jeff became this way. Only he knows that he won't tell anyone but his only little brother, Jack. Jeff was neglected by his mother most of his life, and Jeff hates his mother. He may hate her, but he loved his little brother, Jack, with all his heart. The reason why he agreed to go to the detention center is that he will be able to see his brother once more, once he was released. While he has spent 6 years in the detention center, Jeff always say his reasons and why he did what he did before coming out of the detention center to the therapist or the doctors that look over him. Why should I be something I don't want to be, or only to make her happy? I want to be a troublemaker. I want to see her suffer. Sure enough, they found out the reason why Jeff became the way he is. But that was all in the past. He was released now, and he was able to go home to see his little brother Jack. Once more, smiling, he turned his back and heading straight towards the bus that was taking him to Jasper, Nevada. Stepping into the bus, and he was heading home. Jeff's point of view. It's been 6 years now. I'm finally able to go home. I wonder how Jack is and her are doing. Man, it's been 6 years now. I'm wondering if anything has changed in my hometown while I was away. I thought as I walked to the front seat of the bus, taking my seat, letting out a sigh as I looked out the window and thought about Jack. I hope you still remember me. As the bus started to move, I looked back at the detention center. Man, I'm going to miss that place, I said to myself as the detention center got smaller and smaller as the bus drove away, further away from it. The drive to Jasper, Nevada was going smoothly. I looked out the window, bored, as I continued. As the cement truck was rolling down the hill in the opposite street, it was going faster than no one saw it coming. The truck hit the bus with an incredible amount of force. I jerked forward. The front of the side of the bus crushing me. I felt my legs breaking slowly as the bus pulled my legs. My arms were stuck behind me, twisted and being shattered in all the wrong places. The pain was unbearable, a pain I never felt before, especially for 16 years now. For a 16-year-old, I almost all, if not at all, my bones were cracking, shattering under the weight that was smashing of the bus smashed. Hot, salty tears spilled out of the pain increased. I turned my head as much as the impact would allow me, even though I couldn't turn my head very far. I saw enough wanting me to scream bloody murder. There was glass shards lodged into my back, the crimson liquid spilling out of my back, and there was my arms. My right arm, that was not the only smushed flat, the shattered pressure of the bus, but it was also possibly torn off. Seeing completely snapping in half, I could barely hang onto the tiniest muscles. While my left arm was bent, twisted in multiple places, unnatural position, the bones were sticking out as more places than one. I bit my lip from letting out my scream, thinking if I move, I would no longer hold my breath and from morning spring air. I felt something drip down my face. I watched more and more blood drip. In no time, I began to see black spots, lights shining brightly, sirens screaming, or someone screaming at me. My eyes grew heavier and heavier. As the screaming and sirens began to fade into the air, soon enough my eyelids gave out, and my last thoughts were about my little brother, Jack. At the Autobot base, Miko slammed a note, playing her bass loud enough and making that sending Ratchet into wailing again. She jumped around, playing wildly, while Bulkhead and Bumblebee listened and danced around. In Ruff's case, he's been beeping, automatically stopping her playing, and Miko looked at Jack as he pulled out his cell phone. Finally, peace and quiet, Ratchet said with a contented sigh. You're just jealous of my guitar skills, Miko said as she looked at him. Come on, it's not all that bad. Miko's getting good, Bulkhead said to the older bot. B chirped in agreement. Raph nodded. Optimus and RC couldn't stop their conversation and looked at the others with smiles as Ratchet grumbled in Cybertronian language. All in the base was the same, as always, until they heard Jack gasp. Jack, what's wrong? RC asked, walking over to her male partner. Everyone watched with content as they realized Jack was shaking, a hand covering his mouth, as his eyes were staring at the screen of his cell phone. He turned to them. My brother has been in an accident, Jack said, leaving everyone shocked. Jeff's point of view. My head was pounding as I woke up. When I opened my eyes, the light, even though it was dim, burned my vision. I felt as though it was a dream or nightmare. My thoughts were clouded with fog. I finally awakened around me. I was in a large room. The walls were dark gray bricks, a single light in the room. I was strapped on a metal table. I looked to see most of my body were wrapped in bandages. I remembered what happened. The traffic accident that happened. But why me? I guess my luck really sucks. I thought as I test the straps that held me down, but stopped when my body was hit with a wave of pain. I felt my heart stop as this pain hurt. The large metal door opened in front of the room, and someone walked in, and the person came into view. "Who the hell are you?" I gasped in pain. He chuckled, and circling me like a predator. "Hello, Mr. Darby. Had a nice nap?" "Oh, yeah, getting into a fucking traffic accident. I slept really well," I spat out sarcastically. He only laughed as he continued circling me. What the hell am I doing here anyway?" I asked as I glared up at him. The man stopped and smiled down at me. I noticed that kind of smile I'm taking about a full-blown evil villain smile. "Well, Mr. Darby, I'm not sure if I should tell you. This is going to be a little secret right now, but don't worry. You'll know soon, I assure you." He turns around to the doorway. "Are we able to proceed?" "Almost, sir. The last preparations are being made." A strained voice answered. I cringed. My neck seemed to see the man in a lab coat with gray hair. My breath got hitched into my throat as possible wheezing through my head. The door closed and the man looked down at me again and smirking. What the hell is going on here? Autobot base. Optimus was staring at the screen while Ratchet was being able to track down the traffic accident and what happened. "Why are we just sitting around? Jeff needs us," Jack said, worried about his older twin brother. "Come on, Jack. Ratchet is doing all he can," said Bulkhead. Bee chirped in agreement and nodding. "Yeah," Miko piped up. "I bet your brother will be okay after all what you told us about him. He seems like a Superman." Flashback. When Jack tells everyone about his twin brother. "You had a brother?" Everyone in Team Prime yelled in surprise, and Jack jumped in the surprise by hearing them yell all at once. "Yes, I have a twin brother. To be exact," Jack said, trying to calm himself down. "My brother's name is Jeff. I haven't seen him in 6 years since he was sent away to a detention center by my mom." Everyone looked shocked. Why would June send one of her own sons to a detention center for 6 years? "Why was he sent to the detention center?" Raph said, confused. Jack sighed and looked at everyone to see. "You see, my brother was a very complicated past. He always gets into trouble, more always than one. Our mom couldn't handle it anymore, so she decided it would be best to send him to a detention center. I never thought she would send him away for 6 years. He was only 10 at the time, and he was sent away. I can still remember what Jeff said to Mom on that day. 'I will never forgive you for this. I'm only doing this for Jack, my little brother, not you. When I get out, I'm not going to be the same thing you want me to be. Goodbye, Jackie, stay strong for me until I come home. And goodbye, for now, June Darby. You haven't seen the last of me.'" To everyone who were shocked was an understatement, and become even more shocked that Jack told them that Jeff's life is like in the detention center, how he became a gang leader to one of the largest dangerous gangs in the detention center, and how Jeff got in the nickname the Silent Killer. How Jack knew about this is easy. Jeff wrote to him every day, and Jeff told Jack what was going on and how his life was going in the detention center. End of flashback. Mech space. Third person's point of view. "Sir, we're ready to begin." Silas turned to the mech soldier and nodded. "Good. I'd like to get started as soon as possible." "Go ahead and seduce him. Sedate him," Silas responded, turning to Jack. "But it's not Jack. It's his older twin brother, Jeff, but he doesn't know that." The male teen tried to thrash around but couldn't due to the pain Jeff was feeling all over his body as 5 soldiers came along with one of the scientists. Jeff continued to struggle as he was stripped down. that bind him were undone. As he was able to hold down by the soldiers, the scientist proceeded with a long needle, then forcing the sharp, cold metal into Jeff's neck. Jeff thrashed became weaker and weaker until he finally went limp. Make sure Mr. Darby is awake when we begin. Just hook him into a machine, is understood? Yes, sir, was all the reply as they carried Jeff out of the room. Later, Jeff's point of view. Everything felt so heavy. My arms, my legs, my eyelids. I felt like I was made out of lead. My fingers twitched. I could barely slowly. I lifted my head to look up. I was in a new room, strapped on a metal table again, but this time it was adjusted to hold me vertically. The man from before was standing before me, clasping his hands behind his back, picturing of relax, while I was a picture of fear. I see you're awake again, Mr. Darby. I hope that these accommodations are to your liking, he said as he approached the two men in lab coats who hurled around with large computers. I jerked to look down, wires running into my skin. They were glowing with energy. It hurt so badly. My eyes followed the wires with a large machine. It was pumping or pulsing with blue lights. It was made out of dark metal. What are you going to do to me? I asked, with my voice sounding so lifeless. The man before turned to me again and walked over. You, Mr. Darby, are going to be given the honor of being our first test subject for Project Nightshot. Project what? I said, confused. He chuckled darkly. Project Nightshot is a mech's pride and joy, Mr. Darby. We have chosen you to become our ultimate warrior. Like hell would. I never fight for assholes like you. And how can I be this ultimate warrior? I spat out. Project Nightshot will make a warrior out of you. Let's say that you'll be more than your friends. Then he walked over to the metal door and then paused, looking over his shoulders. And forgetting you were going to fight for us. We'll make sure you learn of that. Then he slams the door, closing it behind him. My eyes widened in horror. I realized what he meant. What he's going to turn me into.